So here's another thing about Jesus which I want to show you. Learning from Jesus. Learn from me, for I am humble in heart. Where do I see the humility of heart of Jesus? Let me show you one example. In John chapter 5. Think of this. When you've heard me quote John 15:5, without Christ I can do nothing. We got that verse up there. Without Christ I can do nothing. Very important verse. That's why we got it up there at the back of the screen. On the curtain. Without me, you can do nothing. Have you understood that? Then we can understand the other truth on the other side. With Christ I can do everything. But see what Jesus says in John 5:19. Very important truth. Where was his humility seen? His humility is seen in the Son can do nothing of himself unless he first sees the Father doing it. Whatever the Father does, the Son does in the same manner. And he goes on from that to say, because whatever I do, I'll bungle up something if I do something without seeing the Father doing it. Therefore, verse 30, I will do nothing on my own initiative. Do you know what initiative means? Something that starts with me. That means I don't consult anybody. I do it on my own. Jesus said, I never do it. I always consult my Father. Not always asking, but a spontaneous life, which, like the branch in the tree, always dependent, without always asking, just constant dependence. Nothing on its own initiative. Branch saying, I don't produce a single fruit on my own. I lean on the tree, and the tree produces the fruit. That's what Jesus is saying. This is his humility. I can do nothing of myself. You've heard me many times quote the example of Jesus. You know that man whom Peter and John healed, Acts chapter 3, lame man. It says he was lame from childhood, and for 40 years he'd been lame, and they'd been laying him at the door of the temple for so many years. Can you imagine the number of times Jesus walked by him? Walked by that same man at the beautiful gate of the temple. And he would stretch out his hand to Jesus and say, give me some money. And Jesus did not say, silver and gold I have none, like Peter. He told Judas, give him some money. Next day he comes, same man says, Judas, give him some money. For 3.5 years, Judas, give him some money, give him some money. Why didn't he heal him? The Father said, no. We have the idea that, somebody's sick, I must have compassion and heal him. Jesus did not act on compassion. And you and I must not act on compassion if you want to follow Jesus. On hearing the will of the Father. I have given money to people out of compassion, which I've regretted. It looked like compassion. It's like helping the prodigal son who's far away from the father's house, and I keep on feeding him and he never goes back to his father's house. Is that an act of compassion? It's an act of stupidity. Let that fellow suffer. Let him eat what the pigs are eating until he repents and goes back to his father's house. That is divine wisdom. That's what I learn about God there in that story. God is so loving that he wants his son back to him, fellowship with him, so he does not send him money. He does not send him food packets. Stupid Christians will go and give him food packets and money to make sure the fellow goes to hell. But God loves him so much, he doesn't want him to go to hell, so he does not send him food packets, he does not send him money. How many Christians have that wisdom? I find very, very few. Because they do things in their own initiative. Jesus said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds from the Father. But no, I don't have to wait to proceed from the Father. I can do things on my own. I've studied the Bible enough. I'm a mature Christian. Now I've got compassion. I want to help this person. Okay, go ahead. I'll tell you, when Christ comes again, we will see how many problems we caused among God's people with our not seeking God to know what I should do in this case. Because we are so proud. Why do I have to consult God? I know all the rules. I live by rules. That is going back under the law. Jesus never lived by the law. He lived by, when you're hungry, if you have power to turn stones into bread, can you turn stones into bread? Yeah, if you're a human being, yes. Jesus said, no. I've got power to turn stones into bread, but I will not use that power. I'll use it to bless others. He used it to help 5,000 people to multiply bread. But when it came to himself, Father, what do you say? No. And even there, the father said, he asked the father said, yeah, make for them. And he made bread for them. He lived by the Father. So this man is laid at the gate of the temple. If Jesus had healed him, he would have got up and walked. And maybe one or two people would have got converted. And then when Peter and John came by later, there was nobody there. But when Peter and John healed him, you read later on in the next chapter that 5,000 people got converted. Imagine Jesus could have spoiled that by doing something out of human compassion. I better heal him. I've got power. Let me heal him now, right now. That's a classic example. So, that's one mark of Jesus' humility. I have the power to heal this man. Father, shall I do it? And the father says no. Well, let me give you another example, which is even more striking. You know the story where, it's just in the same John chapter 5 earlier. Jesus went to a sheep pool called Bethesda. And these lay a multitude of people who were, verse 3, sick, blind, lame, withered. How many do you think is a multitude? Will you call 10 people a multitude? Will you call 15 people a multitude? A multitude means, must be at least 100 people there, minimum. Crowding around this lake or this pool where once in a while an angel would come and stir the waters, and the first person who jumped in would be healed. And immediately a clever person says, why did God heal only the first person? You know the answer to that? Who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Got it? Please remember that answer whenever you have a question about why God does some things in a certain way. Why didn't God heal my child? Why did that child die? Get the answer in Romans 9. Who are you, O man, to answer back to God? Take your position as a human being.